Hi. So, I have been looking for two bits of content online and I've been failing to find them anywhere. One was really good tutorials on how to use the pregame editor in Football Manager, specifically for 26, but also some tutorials or documentaries or podcasts on the history of the FA Cup and the football in the 19th century. There's fragments here and there, but I thought there would be a real audience for information about this era, and I just did not find very much that really zoomed in and stayed put in the 19th century without just focusing on the First International, for instance. So I'm working on a patch that would work in Football Manager 26 to essentially focus on the FA Cup starting in 1871 and moving forward in time. I do want both men's and women's football represented, and there was football, women's football in the 19th century. Um, I've found evidence of several teams getting, playing some games somewhere along the way. And so I'm going to have to be a little bit anachronistic here, but essentially, what I'm trying to do is alongside the 1871 FA Cup patch that has the 12 teams in it that could play a roughly realistic version of the FA Cup from that era. Alongside that, I want to create the women's side of the game, have it starting at the same time, even though technically speaking, it started a little bit later, and essentially establish that as the baseline for all future patching, trying to add more teams and more tournaments that show up later down the way. And I thought while I'm doing that, I could show you how some of this editing works. Because I haven't found very much on editing the women's side of the game, editing in 26 specifically. And beyond that, not a lot of tutorials even on Football Manager editing at all. There's a few, but not a ton. I come from the world of FIFA editing, so I'm fairly new to this. So I'm going to be figuring out some of this as we go along. Also, the database that I'm working on right now has so many changes. The editor file that I have in it has so many changes that it's running quite slowly. But once I get these established and fix the baseline for the women's side of the game, then uh, have I can work on a clean database in the future and just merge the files into this one so that I've got a more complete, a complete final product, but a workable environment to edit in. So anyway, at the moment, one of the things that I learned is that if I want these teams to um, play a somewhat realistic timeline where they don't just buy a multi-million dollar stadium in the first season, I have to assign them a stadium. If they have a stadium to play at, they won't immediately move. They'll respond to the finances of the club to decide whether or not they build a new stadium. But if they didn't have a club, they would almost immediately all buy. If they didn't have a stadium, they would all buy a stadium for like £2 million or something like that. So this is a necessary step to keep things somewhat realistic. So I'm creating some stadiums for the women's game. So what I'm going to do on the women's side of things is there was evidence of the British Ladies Football Club in 1895. They had both a north and a south branch. The north branch seems to have played up in Newcastle. South, I'm assuming, was London. There was some evidence of a team called Mrs. Graham's 11. I think that's a pseudonym for the woman who created that team. They seem to appear around 1895 as well. And then I found some evidence for a team called the Scottish Ladies, maybe around 1881 ish. So I'm going to just kind of move those back in time and say that they existed in 1871 as well. That's the anachronistic piece. I've got grounds for them. So we've got Crouch End, which I think is the one in London. And when I'm creating these grounds, essentially the stadium sides, I'm setting their capacities to about 500 with expansion capacity 500. setting all the conditions to really poor, essentially just trying to have them be as basic a stadium as possible with some room for teams to start appearing because the crowd sizes even in the 19th century grew super quickly. I'm really just stunned at how fast this sport grew. Um, so that's how the crouch end is set up. Let me see. St. James Park is similar, but I need to make these changes here. Set the capacity to 250 on the left. Even though I had has roof unchecked, it looks to me like in game there is still something of a kind of a roof. Let's see. Easter Road was the one up in Edinburgh. So I'm gonna put Mrs. Graham's 11 up there because they were a Edinburgh team. Okay, Google. What was the latitude and longitude of Easter Road in Edinburgh, Scotland? If you don't know, just give me Edinburgh, Scotland.
The coordinates for Easter Road Stadium are 55.9617 degrees north, 3.1656 degrees west. Would you like me to find directions or nearby parking for the stadium?
Use some AI to help me out here. Um, there was another pitch, I think Hamilton Crescent maybe, that got used in the first international between England and Scotland. So I want to make that one, and I might make it a little bit bigger based on Kennington Oval as well. So let's duplicate Kennington Oval if it'll let me. It did. Okay. What was the name of the ground where the first international was played?
The first international football match between Scotland and England was played at Hamilton Crescent in Partick, Scotland.
That was in Partick. Is Partick
Yes, that's
in
correct.
Edinburgh?
No, Perth and Edinburgh are.
Not Perth. I'm asking if Partick is in Edinburgh.
Oh, I apologize for the misunderstanding. No, Partick is a district in Glasgow, not
Glasgow,
Edinburgh.
that's right. Also, it's Edinburgh.
It has been a pleasure talking to you. And yes, Edinburgh.
What is the latitude and longitude of Hamilton Crescent?
The approximate latitude and longitude of Hamilton Crescent are 55.87 degrees north and 4.31 degrees W.
I don't know exactly how longitude and latitude are. She's going to talk again here in a second, but
Latitude and
I
longitude.
don't know exactly how they are used in the game, but I think it has to do with travel distance and and maybe weather as well, if I recall correctly. So, um, let's see here. I need to set the stadium sides on this one. So we'll do probably what 375 here. So setting up all the stadiums like this helps to manage the way that the game handles capacities and such. Um, Unfortunately, I haven't figured out a way to get the stadium maintenance fees down. I kind of wonder if the stadium condition ends up having a role to play in those maintenance fees or something like that. Because they're quite high, so I haven't quite figured out how to get those down. So in my patch so far, the primary debt that each team is taking on is a few tens of thousands of pounds on stadium like ground maintenance. Typically, I think there's some other fee stuff in there, but I was able to remove almost all other expenditures. Getting the scouting packages set to none and such. Um, okay, so I should have 5 stadiums now, and I haven't created all the clubs. Um, I have the South British Ladies, the North British Ladies. I need to make the oh crap! I do actually think maybe I made the Mrs. Graham's 11. I need to look back. Usually clicking on the database changes screen doesn't take as long as it is right now, but since I have over 800,000 database changes, it takes a very long time. But that was a lot of like removing clubs, removing people, etc. So that the database was pretty clean. It's just slow. So this will take us a second. One little bit of history that I wasn't aware of was related to kind of labor laws. I think in the 1860s, Parliament passed a law that said that essentially you couldn't force factory workers to work on Saturday, which is kind of what gave birth to the whole industry of football. Here we go. All right, so I've got South, North, Scottish, and Mrs. Graham's 11. So we're going to remove this. Let's see. Crouch End. Ooh, I've got Crouch End in there twice. But that might just be because of edits, not because of it being 2 entries. So I think I'm going to leave that alone. Anyway, anytime you're rolling back database changes like this, you first have to remove them. It won't always take this long for you. But it does for me. And then you also have to do the reload database and apply undeleted changes. Otherwise, any new changes you make, it'll just give you an error and it won't go. But anyway, back to the Act of Parliament thing. So, the whole reason that the game developed, especially in the 1860s, was because of that Act of Parliament. Like all of a sudden, you had people with time on their hands on the weekends. You couldn't play on Sunday because of it was like the Lord's Day or whatever. But you could play. This is the reload database and apply undeleted changes, but you could play on Saturday. So these games were almost all played Saturdays at 3 p.m. in whatever local park. And so that's how the following kind of came along. But the earliest history of, some organization, there was a Scottish team called Football Club with a dash in the middle that started, I think, in the 1820s or something like that. But there wasn't a whole lot of time to play since most people were working, and so the real establishment of the game, everything kind of took off in the 1860s, and then really got solidified by about a decade. 1871 is when we had time to establish the FA Cup, which was an amateur tournament. Obviously, they had the kind of divide between essentially the blue collar and the white collar working classes. So the white collar class wanted the tournaments to remain amateur, probably because they didn't want to give up the wages and affluence that they had from their jobs. I'm guessing. Whereas the blue collar workers wanted some professionalism because they were talented enough to get paid for their play, for their performance, and there very quickly became some rather large audiences for these games. Um, so there was the whole kind of divide between the people that were pushing for professionalism and the people that were pushing to keep things amateur. And even the early Olympics had amateur footballers at them, like Upton Park, I think, was the representative amateur team at one of the early Olympics before Uruguay ended up winning a couple of Olympics in the 1920s. So anyway, yeah, pretty fascinating stuff in terms of the development of the game. I think it was 1883 or 4. Blackburn. There's that pretty bad television show that was made about this on Netflix, but Blackburn started basically buying players and paying them under the table. Um, and or they would like give them a nominal job in the factory and then say, but you have to play football. So that was happening quite a bit. So Blackburn was pretty much the first evidence of a kind of a professional team winning the FA Cup. So there's that whole thing. Okay, we made some changes. Let's take a look. If I were to look at all the teams I have in the game right now that are female identified, I've got the South British ladies, the North British ladies, the Scottish ladies, and Mrs. Graham's 11. Let's see if we can assign their stadiums. Crouch End, cool. Then Scottish ladies, I think I will put them over at Hamilton Crescent. Let me check actually really quickly. Do you see any evidence of the Scottish Ladies Football Club starting around 1881? And if so, do you have any guess for what city they tended to play in? Were they Glasgow or Edinburgh?
A Scottish ladies football club existed and participated in the first international women's match in 1881. That first match was played at Easter Road in Edinburgh,
Easter
where the
Road. Okay, let's put them on Easter Row. Easter.
It seems that team may have.
She's freaking out because I'm talking over her. Okay, so we got Easter Road for this team. For the North British ladies, we're going to put them at St. James Park. And then for the South British ladies, we can put them at. Oh, there was some stadium. I just had it. What was the name of the one for the Southern British ladies? I wouldn't have an owner. I can't remember. Where were the Southern British ladies likely playing their games?
It's difficult to find specific grounds for the Southern British ladies during that time, but early women's football clubs often played in major cities and traveled across Britain for matches. Given the
You don't have
context of the
any evidence of any specific stadiums that the British ladies played at in London at any point.
specific evidence from 1881 is difficult to find.
Well, they would have been
However, the British
1894,
ladies.
95, so anything from around there where they played?
Yes, the British Ladies Football Club played in London around that time. Their first public match took place at Crouch End in March 1895,
Got it.
and they also played at St. James Park. Does that fit your time frame?
That's right. Okay, so yeah, the southern. Oh, come on. There's so many cities. I didn't remove nations, I didn't remove cities. Okay, so South British ladies, they play at Crouch End. North British ladies, St. James Park. Scottish ladies at Easter Road and Mrs. Graham's 11. What was the name of the stadium where Mrs. Graham's 11 played?
Mrs. Graham's 11, a notable Scottish team, played at numerous grounds. Their prominent matches included the one at Easter Road in Edinburgh.
Okay, we'll put them both at Easter Road then.
Sounds good. Is there anything else
So
that
both
you would
Scottish
like to know
teams,
about these teams?
Easter Road in Glasgow. So the Scottish ladies were in Glasgow. Scottish ladies, Mrs. Graham's. I think I saw that I still have them listed in London. Whoops. I did look at this at one point. So the nation and the based nation, if I remember right, the nation is where they play their games, like what league they're associated with, and the based nation is where their actual home is. Continental Cup nation. I don't know what that one is, but I'm going to guess that it should match the nation. So, actually, in this case, we should probably set nation as England because they're playing in England. And then city we can set as Glasgow. Does that work? I think that works. I'd have to look again. Actually, let me. In the Football Manager editor, nation and base nation are a little unclear. So for a team like, let's say, Swansea, do we set their based nation as England or do we set their nation as England because they're actually from Wales?
In the Football Manager editor, nation is where the club competes in the league structure. So for Swansea, that would be England, as they play in the English leagues. Based nation is the actual country the club is based in. So that would be Wales for Swansea. This distinction can affect things like youth development.
What should I put for the Continental Cup?
The Continental Cup in Football Manager usually refers to international club competitions like the Champions League or Europa League. The specific cup you should set depends on which competition the team is eligible for, based on their nation and base nation.
What would it have been for, let's say, Wrexham or Swansea?
For both Wrexham and Swansea, the relevant Continental Cup would be based on the English League system, as that's where they compete, meaning primarily the Champions League or Europa League, depending on their league performance.
Okay, I think we got it. So we have these four teams. They're going to be our women's teams. Um, this is where, um, since I've got this as a baseline, I'm gonna save this. Adding women's league. Um, let's call it IP1 in progress 1. Set a foundation. This is where it can get a little bit confusing. So I'm trying to work with both the men's and women's sides and work within the advanced rules editor. I had to use advanced rules because I was trying to create the FA Cup as the primary domestic top division instead of there being a league. I will add the Football League, but I want it to show up in 1888 rather than in 1871. So for now, all that's in here, let me show you this. So we're in the advanced rules editor. What I had to do is create a rule set for England men's, a rule set for England women's. Then the Football Association Challenge Cup for men and the Women's League for women. When you go in here, it collapses anything with the same name into one thing. So, like, look when I click on England, it's got these two England entries, but two England entries here, but there's just one drop down combo box option here. The Football Association Challenge Cup's got all of its details in there. This took quite a while to develop, but it's already done. I'm sorry I can't show you. For this one, let's go to the advanced rules for the Women's League and just try to keep it simple. So, um, the game is set in 2025 moving forward. So it goes 2025, 2026, 2027, etc., and so on. The year listed in here seems to be based on some like 2000 is baseline. So this is something that I had to figure out. If I set this to 2025, then the league shows up, I think, in like 25 years. And then the year interval is how often it appears. So essentially, you could think of as year is 2000 minus, however long. So 2000 means it's going to show up in the first year. And then I want it to show up every year. So that's that. If we wanted to start this a while down the line, like for instance, I'm going to have the 1888 league show up. So since we're setting 1871 as our baseline, um, and I want to see it show up in 1888, then for that patch, we'd set the start year offset as 17. If I wanted to like wind this league down at some point, which I might, then I could have the end year offset um, end up in there as well. I think you can also just put start year, but again, it would be like relative to 2000. So we're gonna play with all of that, but I haven't played with it yet. I think we're done here. Valid years, like um, the South American Championship, Economy Bowl Championship. I'm blanking on the name of it all of a sudden. But anyway, it will end up the Copa America. Jesus. Anyway, it has certain years that it was played and other years that it wasn't. So I think we can set those as the valid years. But again, they're going to be 2000 relative, essentially. Oh, and I wanted to show you that back here. So for the Scottish ladies, etc., I'm setting the year founded as 2025. What I did for like other teams, let's go with male side. Um, I wanted the history to look like everything started in 2025, essentially. So, like the football club, I think was founded in 1824 or something like that. So I've just made a little calculator to figure out what that difference was, and it came up with I think a year difference of 154 or something like that. So when I put 1961 in here, um, it's essentially basing everything relative to the start year of 2025. So anyway, I have that. That's how I set up this database. Anyway, moving on. So this is going to be a domestic top division. Apparently, I just put domestic division. There isn't an option for top division. It's not inactive. It's level 0. Base year for dates is 2000. We'll have the start month be September. Yeah, start month is September. No year offset because it's going to start in the year that the game begins. April is the end month, and there's a 1 year offset because we want the season to end the following April. So take 2000, add 1, it ends in April of 2001, which is really April of 2026. Stages. So this one's relatively straightforward. You can add the stages as a list here. Have the indices growing by 1 if you have multiple stages. But since it's a league type, and I'm gonna hard code it. Actually, maybe I don't. I don't think I need to. I'm gonna leave this blank because I think it's gonna be fine. Um, let's put. Let's leave that blank. The minimum number of teams is gonna be 4 because I want to be able to add more teams later. So I don't want to put number of teams, and I don't want to put maximum number of teams because I want some of these other teams to appear later. I found about 11 total that I have at least some evidence for on the women's side. Okay, I think that's saved. Teams. Get all teams from the division. Did I add all the teams to the division? I don't think I did. Let's go back. Competitions. Women's League. So, yeah, let me just show that really quickly. So, I'm telling it to, in this stage, get all of the teams from the division. What division you say? Well, you have to add the competition in as well. So this seems circular, but it's not, I swear. Um, oh my gosh. It's got a memory for all of the old women's competitions, even though I'm pretty sure I deleted all of these. So I'm looking for one that I've created called the Women's League, which I think I remember being about 90% of the way toward the bottom. All right, hold on. Yeah, it's not in there. All right, let's go search. Here it is. That was easy. Go. Okay, so that's all fine and good. Get all teams from the Women's League division. Problem is, you got to go out of the advanced rules back to the database and look at the actual competition and see what teams got added to that division. If you look, there they are. So, thank goodness. Did I think of that already? I guess I did. Okay, well, that was an accident. But that's apparently I was looking out for my future self. Okay, let's go. So now, when it pulls in teams, get all teams from division. What division? The Women's League. Where do you get those teams from? Well, you go to the database, you look at the competition, you go to the teams, and here the teams are the ones that I've specifically gone in and added by hand. I could add more teams. Um, sorry, this is under teams here, and then I could add more teams here if I wanted to. But I don't want to because that's all my teams for now. Uh, so anyway, I think under registered teams is where you're able to add new teams in later as well, but we'll play with that in a bit. For now, we're just trying to get this to work for the women's side of the game. Okay, league settings. Um, the top team are the champions. I'm gonna have them play 4 rounds of games. Um, I know that's a lot of football for an amateur competition, but we're gonna be running it for a while, so um, every team's gonna get 12 games a year. Um, let's see. I do want to do some prize money. Ooh, points for a win. The standard for the longest period of time throughout history, if you don't recall, was 2 points for a win. I've not done enough with like extra time and replays and such. For now, I will add all that in later, but for now, my even on the FA Cup side, they're just going penalties. They go straight to penalties. So um, it's a little silly, but that's cool. I wish you could double it up, like do it as a series, but whatever. Okay, fixture order, whatever fixture order you want is fine. Number of last match days played on the same day. I'll get rid of that. It doesn't matter. They weren't considering such things, I think, until the 80s or 90s. Um, I will say that I had no subs allowed in my other patch, and it's allowing subs, so I'm not sure what's up with that. I gotta look into that. Um, what does process early finish mean? Used for leagues which create secondary league stage after max rounds has been played. No? I don't think that matters. Because we're only gonna have one league stage. Match rules, all good. Prize money. Okay, let's add the prize money. If you finish in position 0, which I think is first, let's give them 100 pounds. Well, that's a lot for. Let's give them 50 pounds for the era. I mean, people were paying $3 or $4 per year for their stadium rental fees. So $50 is 50 pounds, if you will, is quite a lot. We'll have second place can take 20. And then the bottom two get nothing. So that sounds fine. League schedule. I want the end date to be in April. I just like having that little bit of a buffer. We're going to need those May dates in the future. Um, so I think I want those buffers. Let's set this as the 28th, maybe. I want it to be a Saturday. Yeah, I remembered that off the top of my head. Domestic competition. Check for clashes with. Um, there won't be any clashes. There's no other. Anyway, okay. Could play with those, but that's not that big of a deal. Day of the week, we want to play on Saturdays. There's no alternative day of the week. So we're going to leave that. There's no break periods, match times and rules. I think, yeah, this is like a preset set of rules that you can dig into. So if we don't touch it, it works fine. Discipline rules. I think I have to have those. Okay. I think there's a good chance that this will work out of the box. So let's try it. File. Oh, let's go. All right. This is a 3-step process. You have to save the editor data. It takes a long time because I have over 800,000 saves. While it's doing that, I'm going to set up a second source on here to capture a game because I need it to capture Football Manager for you too. And then I'm going to have to remember to switch window, this one. Yeah, like you can see it loading. Weird things been happening for me lately where as I'm loading FM, if I've edited it, it seems to load most of the way through the title screen, the splash screen, and then close and then reopen. I think that might be that it tried to open the beta, failed, and then opens the base game, but I could be wrong. It didn't do it this time though, which is interesting. But anyway, for now, I'm actually going to close this because we're not ready for it yet. But I was just trying to set OBS up for that. Close. Okay, it's closed. So, oh, it's opening this again. How do you? Weird. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay, back over here. We don't need 2 game captures. All right, sorry, I'm messing with my OBS settings. Okay, so I saved it, but it's not done yet. Notice up here it says not verified. So we go edit, rules. We're going to test all the rules. This takes a while because I have over 800,000 changes. The test was successful. It does indicate that some other nations and continents are going to be disabled because of these rules. It's because I deleted a bunch of shit, which was very much by design. Notice we are still not good, though, because the version of this that we saved has not been verified. So these changes will not show up in game. So the 3-step process was save, verify, save. Now, I've also got multiple files in the save folder that have edited the England nation. So when I open up Football Manager itself, there's that. When I open up Football Manager, which remember, now that it's saved, I need to open it It can't be open and then save. It won't register the changes. So I'm having to close Football Manager itself, and it's fighting me. Close. Yes, I really want to exit. So when we open it up and we load the database, we need to make sure that we're loading specifically the editor file that we just made all those changes to. I'll show you what I mean. If you were doing a very simple league like the one that I'm making for the women, but that's the only change you were making, there's really no good reason to be using the advanced rule editor. If you're just keeping things really simple, you can use the basic rules. The basic rules are much more intuitive. You just can't change very much, but that's fine for the majority of cases. It'll set up a standard little league structure. You can't mess it up. This is what I was talking about with it closing halfway through the splash screen. I don't know why it did that, but we're back, baby. So anyway, if you're just doing simple leagues, use the basic editor. If you're doing complicated leagues, you're probably going to need the advanced rules editor. And I spent most of yesterday messing around with that thing to try to make heads or tails out of it. So it takes a little while to figure out. But we'll see. We'll see if this works. If it doesn't work, I'm going to try to troubleshoot it with y'all live. Okay, so let's go to start a new career, advanced setup career. Okay, let's go to database and notice there's two in here. So the 1871 patch is the one that I was doing before, but adding Women's League IP1 is the one that we've just tested and verified. Notice on the men's side, we just have the Football Association Challenge Cup only. I want to talk about this really quickly, though. If we added Egypt in here, that's just going to pull from the base game. So this would be a weird mixture of 1870s football with the Egyptian modern day Premier League, if you will. But anyway, we want this to just be viewable. Women's League is not selectable. Why not? Active women's nations. It's interesting that it's not showing up here. And I just want to see what happens when we load it. So that's issue number one, is the Women's League is not appearing. So I've selected one league from one nation. The game will start in August 2025. That's funny. I think that's selecting the Women's League as the one league. Yeah, there's no teams. So why are there no teams? It's very interesting. Okay, can I start unemployed? That's fine. Smote Faz was I was playing a save with like 12 managers, and he was one of the ones that got like randomly generated. Um, and he had a really successful career. He's a Dutch manager, Dutch American, if I recall correctly. Although this guy got saved as American. So anyway, Smote Faz has stuck around as a fan favorite, as a personal favorite. Anywho, so if we look at England, we've only got the men's side. Clubs, Europe. We've only got the men's leagues in here. Even if you look at other countries, you have their national teams, but you don't have. Interesting. Okay. Unclear why that's happening. Let's search for British. So we have the North and South British ladies. They show up as in the Women's League. Here is the Women's League. We've got the stadiums for the Women's League. Past winners, clubs. But we don't have. It shows 7 clubs in the Women's League. Why? These are the little clues we got that there's something going on. So anyway, all right, let's game is not currently saved. I don't want to save. No. These are the little clues we've got for what might be happening here. So let's see if we can troubleshoot this. Back to the editor. Okay. Where could this be? I want to start with the database. Let's look at the competition. Let's look at its details. Call that Women's League football, maybe. Program background. Nation is England. Europe. Parent competition. Trophy type. Band. Domestic top division. No VAR. Can use a winter ball, even though that's not really a thing. We've got the teams. We have 4 teams. Well, this is not related to the issue, but I do want to go back and change those transfer budgets. I'm not sure why they were like that. I don't want transfer budget 0. So let's go finances, uncheck transfer budget, database. Oh, I hate when I accidentally hit the cities button. Clubs, playing gender, female, apply filter. There we go. Scottish ladies, finances, transfer budget, just off. Database. North British ladies, finances, transfer budget is off. Okay. And then South British ladies, transfer budget is off. Cool. Database. Competitions. Women's League. Mrs. Graham's. Come on, man. Finances. Transfer budget. Okay. Database. Women's League. Teams. So we have teams, 4. Teams for next season, 4. Teams for next season. Teams for next season. Contract types. Changes. License colors. I don't see anything in here that would suggest a problem. So let's go back to the advanced rules and look again. We can go requirements, general, stages, stages, stages. It's a league type stage. General. Minimum number of teams is 4. Teams. Get all teams from division. Am I missing someone here? Something here? Team type. I think this is only for reserves and such. I don't want to hit maximum number of teams because I want to be able to add teams later. So that would be gimmicky. Team index, I don't want to mess with. Sort teams, doesn't matter. Seeding method, no. Group index doesn't help. Reverse order doesn't matter. It's fascinating that this is struggling to get the right teams. Get all teams from division. But then it's also not showing the actual competition itself. I think I might join competition, number of teams, minimum number of teams. I wonder if I remove stages, what happens? I think just nothing's gonna. I think nothing's gonna happen. I think no teams will get played. I might even get an error here. Let me just see if I get an error here. We've also got this teams section down below. I don't need multiple stages. I just need them to play the one stage in the one league. So sometimes it's smart enough to do that sort of thing. We're saving this, but I just want to look at teams down here. Number of qualified teams, minimum number, all qualified teams, team pool. Registered squad selection, teams, league team order, professional status rules. Ooh! That's cool. Hold on. Because this could be really helpful with 1888. I just want to look at this. I'm distracted now. Professional status. Years after being relegated. Interesting. Is there a way to determine that this league has to be professional? Professional status, professional. Clubs will use this professional status for this number of years after being relegated. I see. Okay, so you get into this league, you have to be professional, and then if you get relegated, you will lose this. You will hang on to it for X number of years. Cool. Awesome. That's not what we're doing right now, but fascinating. Stadium rules, money. Additional helpers. Okay. All right, let's save again. Let's test again, and then let's save again and see why it's not wanting to load. It was kind of complicated to get both men's and women's leagues in here, so I'm not inclined, if I can avoid it, I'm not inclined to go back to the list and delete. I really don't want to do that. But this is the same, right? Yeah, this is the same rules. Fixed format. Yeah, okay. We'll do the test. I wonder if there's something in the database about the year that they start or anything like that that could be off that I didn't think of. That passed the verification. Okay. So it's going to open, it's going to close, and then it's going to open again. I got to show you. While it's loading, I just want to poke around a little more. Here, I'll let you watch. I don't know. You can watch the splash screen, I guess. So the women's league is listed as starting in 2000. It also has an end year listed as 2000, which that's weird. In settings, it's got a start year of 2000 and an end year of 2000. That doesn't seem right. In the database, in the settings. But the same thing exists for the FA Cup, which is working, which is very weird. I don't understand. I feel like maybe that should be 2001. All right, let me just confirm that this still doesn't work because I didn't really change anything. Well, I took out the stages. MLS? No way, dude. We're not doing that. Get out of here. Women's League. What? Add nations. Add nations. Europe. England. Confirm. That's the men's side. Ooh, this is so buggy. Let's just look. Yeah, that shows all the men's teams. I want to play with the women's side. Women's leagues. Okay, so that's fucked. Let's see if we can figure this out. Oh, and I hit the wrong button. And I hit the wrong button again. OBS. Let's go back to... Let's go back to the editor. I want to look at the nation's rules. So advanced rules. Let's go to England. Here. Nation. Okay. Male. Female. Base year 2000. Base year 2000. That looks identical. I get it. Look, look, look. Okay, so, all right, check it out. So we got the list, which is from here, right? This is the men's, that's the women's. So this is the men's, that's the women's. If you look at the men's side, we've got the nation, division levels, football association, challenge cup, men, right? Makes sense. But on the women's side, it's got the fucking challenge cup in there. It's supposed to have the women's league in there. Boom. And okay, cool. Let's look at required teams. This is kind of a wonky screen that I was getting a little bit more used to. So, what this is saying is you could add a specific team that must be in this division. That's an option. But I haven't messed with that a whole lot. You could decide a particular stadium that must be played in this division, I think. But here I'm saying I want everybody from the women's league, and I want a minimum of 4 teams. What is this little thing? And there's currently 4 in there. That's the read that it's getting me. Um, but if there are other teams, then I want you to grab all the other teams from England, and they'll just kind of exist in the country. They exist in the country. They don't exist in a league. So, like, if you look in here, you've got these required teams, and these are all empty in here. What that does is if you go back into the database and we look at clubs and we go to the men's side, I've created several teams that play in the division and then a bunch of teams that don't yet. Like these teams existed in the country but weren't playing in this league yet. So, so these guys are kind of around. Some of them are club teams, some of them are school teams. One of them is extinct, the football club from Edinburgh. So that's what that's doing. So that is almost certainly the problem here. Is if we go in here, got the required teams, got the competition. That looks fine. That's almost definitely it. Almost definitely. Okay, let's save. No. Weird. I wonder how that happened. Let's test. Oh, look, I'm doing it again. If you look at the start dates, it's based on the FA Challenge Cup again. We'll go ahead and fix those. Yeah. I need to go through every screen here and see if the Challenge Cup is listed. I think I bet you I duplicated it. Competition, Women's League, reserves, rules. Don't create reserve clubs. I bet you if I go back and look, I bet you it's created reserve teams. Oh, God. That's so annoying. It'll actually make them in the database, and then you have to go in and delete them. It's so annoying. Match rules, rule 0. Here it is, look. Competition, rule set for 0. Ugh. Sloppy, Adam, sloppy. My name's Adam, by the way. I don't think we should have trialist play. Discipline rules. We can leave that. Rule set 0. Season periods. September 2nd through, what did I say, April 28th? Come on. Interesting. Used to specify a range of division levels this window applies to. To be honest with you, I'm almost certain this line is doing nothing right now. But one of the principles is only test one thing at a time. I don't want to change a lot right here unless I'm fairly confident that it's not messing with the baseline. Transfers, transfer windows. I'm going to disable transfer windows for now. I might add those back in. Transfer rules. We are not going to use the Bossman rule. The Bossman rule it came into effect, I think, in the 90s, that allowed players, when their contract ran out, to basically to move on to another club. Prior to that, I think that players were just getting stuck on clubs they didn't want to play for. Free transfers can join at any time. That's fine. Players already on loan. We're not doing anything with loans. This is 1870s. So, okay. Let's save, verify, save, test. The MLS season kicks off later today. That'll be fun to check out. It actually might have already kicked off, if I'm honest. Yeah, St. Louis is up 1-0 over Charlotte. Oh, come on, Timmy Ream. Kick them legs. We're going to need you for the World Cup because we have no center backs. Cincinnati, Atlanta, 3:45. When's Miami going to kick off? Ooh, Miami LAFC. That's a tasty matchup. 8:30 p.m. I like it. Check that out. Okay. Let's see. We tested, verified. Yeah. I don't remember whether I saved again. I think I did. But we'll just double check. Okay. Close the app. Come on. Okay, open up Football Manager again. Let's test. Make sure that this worked. That's almost certainly the problem, though. Does it look that much like crap on your screen? Look at that. That's horrendous. Wow. I think I had that missized this whole time. Grotesque. All right, we'll see. Whatever. Huh. Futzin' fiddlin', futzin' fiddlin'. All right, get it loaded. Here we go. Come on, FM. You can do it. All right. Let's start a new career. Advanced setup. Remember that we got to pick the right database. Football manager. Just adding the women's league. Yes. Go to the women's side. Women's league only. Look. Yay. Okay. On this side, let's do that view only. This side, let's make it playable. Beautiful. Load the database. Look at that. There they are. Yeah. Sweet. I want to play with Mrs. Graham's 11. Okay. I've learned to skip all of those uh inductions. I just simulate the first week, set up everything later. Okay, so fixture schedule. It's not registering fixtures. It's not scheduling fixtures because I deleted the stage. Almost certainly. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, while I'm in here, I want to look at the finances page. The summary, the expenditure, taxes. Let me just see if I simulate this for another month, what it charges me. So, and then I'm going to go back in to the editor and put the stage back in because that was a misguided edit. Okay, so here, let's go here to the Women's League stages. I do want to enable stages. Add. Okay, other comp, stage name. Can I just call this league? League path, league phase, league phase. That's fine. Or maybe league table would be better. So this part's pretty anachronistic, but I want women in the game. They've been playing since the 1800s. I think it's reasonable to have them in the game. So I'm going to do it. League stage. League stage. General. Minimum number of teams is always going to be 4. But I don't want to add a max. Ooh, team list changes. Changes to be made to the team's array for a stage. That's not for a year. Oh, yeah. Okay. Anyway, requirements, teams, team pool, team teams. We will get all teams from division. What division, you say? Well, how about the women's league? Boop. Yeah, of course we needed this in here. So silly to remove it. Okay, description, don't ignore teams. All that's fine. League settings, qualification rules. There was that reverse the order. General. There was the thing about fixtures, valid, like randomizing the fixtures or something like that. That's probably in match days or match times and rules. It's fine. Okay, match plan rules. It's fine. What is this? One column for each team, one row for each date. Daggone. Match plan rules. Number of teams in league to play. Fascinating. All right, I haven't messed with any of that. We'll leave that alone. Other stage rules, stage actions, which are triggered at the start and end of each stage. That could be interesting later. We'll leave it alone for now. Okay, match times and rules. Should play on an account. Oh, that's fine. Match rules, that's fine. Fixture dates. I gotta redo this now. Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to specify each individual one. Fixture dates for different years. That's so cool. Alternative dates, friendly dates, reserve dates, spare dates. Fixture times, valid fixture dates. Fixture times. Huh. League fixtures. Let me just see what's up with this. League fixtures. Add. Interesting. Okay, don't need that. First fixture date. Match date not found in match dates list. I'm missing something. I'm definitely missing match dates somewhere. Not found in match dates list. Fixture dates. Alright, I guess I'll set this then. To by stages in this cup and are also clashing dates. I might have to. Type. Date. Do I have to do this? Okay. League table. Type. Main stage name. Do I really have to do this? Alright. How many months do we have? September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. That's 8 months for 12 games. Um, Assertive clash. Yes, because if had other tournaments in, I want the women's league to be the foundation. Okay. Only use this date when the year matches up the base year and interval. Start year, end year, year. Play different. Fascinating. Okay. We're gonna duplicate this 11 times, and we're gonna set the match dates for the entirety. So let's go 15 October. See, I try to guess what day of the month is gonna be a Saturday, and I'm always wrong. Let's go with 20th of November. Ah, I was off by 2. 18th of November. Then I'm gonna say the 22nd of December. No, if it's Friday, I bet you it's wrong. Come on. Come on. I don't feel like I've had to do this before, but we don't want to play on the 24th. So what is that, like the 15th? No, it's 17th. Jeez. I don't remember having to set all the fixtures like this before. But I wonder if when I convert it from the basic rules into the advanced rules, I bet you that it handles all the fixture scheduling, and I bet you I've accidentally done it differently somehow. February. Let's call it the 17th. That's not going to be right. 19th. Okay. Then let's do March 20th. Ah. We can reorder these. #22. I want it to be the 22nd and the 29th. So the off season pretty much starts immediately after. 1st, 22nd, 29th. Okay, let's just check. September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. And there should be 12 of those. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Where did I specify that I want them to play 4 rounds? Minimum number of teams. I don't think we've specified that we want 4 rounds. I don't remember where that was. General. Nationals. This is weird. Yeah, it's only going to play, I think, 1 round. All right, well, let's test it. We're just trying to iterate forward. Rules. Test. Test was successful. Rules. Save. Man, this is bothering me. I wonder if it's in here anywhere. I doubt it. Competitions. Match rules. Ooh, I wonder. Yeah, we don't need any squad selection rules, discipline rules. Start dates. It's for the country. Transfers for the country. Nation. Where is it? Driving me nuts. Is it in the database by itself? What am I showing you? Yeah, I think it might still be in the database part. Schedule. Settings. Weird. Changes. Details. I don't see anything about where it tells me to set any of this up. Crazy. I have an idea if this doesn't work. I don't think it's going to work. I think we're going to go in here. We're not going to have any fixtures again. Or we're only going to have one round of fixtures. But let's look. Women's League. Okay. Boop. Here we go. Stop. Yeah, we don't have any fixtures. I have an idea. Okay. The men's side is working. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save the editor data. And we're going to do, let's call this baseline, both genders. And we'll save this. Because I don't want to lose the men's side working the way I want it to. Okay. Now, I want just the men's side by themselves. So let's go advanced rules. Let's remove the women and remove the women's rules. This should work. Save editor data as. We're going to go baseline men only. Cool. Now we can remove these. This is almost certainly not going to work. But let's go. Really? What do you mean? Let's clear this. Let's go. Nation rules. Hmm. Because I did the men's side first. Okay. Well, here. This will have set up a basic league structure for this. So let's just look. Slash maybe even save some screenshots. Number of teams, 12. That's not what I want. But teams, get all teams from division. It doesn't have a division set. League settings. There it is. It's in league settings. So right under team and then league settings. Okay. Let's load the database. Sometimes just looking at the way it's supposed to be set up. You have unsaved changes. No. File. Load the editor data. Let's go baseline both genders. Add it. What am I even showing you? I don't even think you got to see me doing the test. All right. What am I doing? I do have advanced rules. I got everything in here. I want to look at the women's league. I want to go in. It was like stages. Here are the stages. Good. League settings. Right there. Number of rounds. Right in front of my face. Good God. What a crazy rule that one of the tiebreakers would be the ranking in the reserve league. Crazy. Speaking of, I need to go back and check that those um, reserve teams weren't added. I think they were. Bet you anything. Okay, got that. Check this out. I bet you anything. Let's go. Player gender is female. Apply. Oh, good. They didn't add them. Okay, fine. Here we go. Save. I'm just going to save, verify, save. Nothing special to look at there. So I will put you back on Football Manager 26. Test rules. Okay, test was successful. Save the editor data again. I really hope this works. I think we got it. I think we're there. Okay, load the thing. Let's get to open, close, open again. I don't really know why, but fine. I think the fact that there was women's football in the 1880s without any podcast ever being created about them is absolutely fascinating. But like I said, I found an article that was listed on the Wayback Machine that had something like 11 different teams listed. At least, like, sometimes it was course like newspaper correspondence saying, "Hey, we're a team, we want to play somebody." Sometimes it was a letter between, presumably between clubs, saying like, "Come on out and let's play." So like, there was just to run through the teams. We got the British Ladies, which I've heard had both a North and a South kind of branch to it. We had Madam Kenny's Edinburgh Club. It's 1887 ish. Um, Mrs. Graham's 11, 1894 or 5. Grimsby had a team in 1887. I don't know why their team isn't like shouting from the rooftops that Grimsby had a women's football club at a very early stage in history. I don't know if it was associated with the club, I should be clear. The Sunderland Daisies in 1887, probably associated with the town, not the team. Um, the Scottish Ladies, we talked about. The Southwick Lilies, some team just called the Angels. And then there were two teams. One was called the Greeners Violets and the Greeners Cutters. Cutter as like a mascotty team name is, I mean, that's metal as hell. That's violent. Okay, this looks good. That looks good. Men's league, view only. Women's league, playable. Cool. 2 leagues from 1 nation. Cool. All of the women's leagues are in here. I want to play as the Scottish Ladies. And I'm really hoping this is it. Fixtures. We're still not scheduling fixtures. Why? What am I missing? Okay. All right. It's fine. We're going to figure it out. I'm getting tired of this, but we're going to figure it out. So, hold on a minute. Which file did I load? Because now I've got 4 saved in there, and I don't know which one I actually selected. Sometimes I go to test, and it's like, I picked the wrong file. Okay. Oh, we're going to reload. St. Louis and Charlotte drew 1-1. The Wrexham game today was bananas. 5-3 against Ipswich. Good God. What a blowout. Or what a shootout, I guess you'd say. Oh, that pulls Ipswich back to within 3 points. I mean, they have 2 games in hand, but still. 2 points ahead of Birmingham. 13 matches left. Is Birmingham, is that Tom Brady's team? Yeah. Man, Coventry are flying. West Brom and Leicester. Oh my God, Leicester's in the relegation zone in the championship. West Brom too. Stunning. Okay, start new career. Advanced setup. Mrs. Graham's 11 is never going to get relegated. They're too good. So look, we have all of these selected, so I don't know which one it's actually applying. So that's probably one of the problems. Which one did I validate? Baseline both genders. So this is the one we need to try. So let's see. It's probably still fucked up. Mrs. Graham's 11, start game, begin career, continue, go to the fixture schedule. We still don't have fixtures. Why don't we have fixtures? All right, we're missing something. We're missing something. What are we missing? Let's go through it again. The Women's League requirements, year interval. Sometimes I'll throw this into AI to just see if it can spot, because I'm like skimming and I'm tired. Setup date. I'm gonna look at the Men's League general. But I don't have a setup date and it's fine. That's probably not it. And I don't want to add a bunch of settings that I'm going to need to end up kind of rolling back. Level 0, base year for dates, 2000. Domestic division, September to April. The Women's League. Okay. General. Stages. General. Stages. Stage 0. Stage ID 0. Competition to use. Other no. Okay. General. Send news. Hide rules. Let's look at league settings. Just gonna look at the men's side to see. It doesn't matter. This one has rounds. Match team rules. Match rules. Fixture rules index 0. Match dates and times. This is match date not found in match dates list. We've got fixture dates, but we don't have match dates. Why don't we have match dates? Promotion, relegation, no. League fixtures, valid fixture dates. I just need to look at how a league looks at baseline. So we're just gonna load the database. No to all the changes. We've got them backed up. We're going to go add nation rules. No, I should show you this. This is how you add. So if you want to say, I'm working on the national league from some country, like I want a file, let's say it's set up for Sri Lanka. If I want Sri Lanka, then you go to add nation rules, select nation, player, gender. In this case, we're going to go female. In this case, we'll go nation, other nations, and let's add Sri Lanka. I pick something in the S's, of course. Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka. Okay. Create new competition and rules. Very good. Settings. This is all fine because I just need to look at it. Okay, so now it sets up basic rules. And all this would be fine if I were just working with just this league. I could like export this and it would work. But since I need to do advanced rules because of the men's side, then must be at least one division in this nation. Fudge. Because it doesn't add the competitions. Let me see if I can do this quickly. Okay, competitions, add a condition. We're going to add a competition. We'll call it SRI, SRI, SRI. Player gender female. Cool. Teams. I need to add teams. Database. Let's go. Clubs. Add a club. So slow. One day I will get faster at this once I know it better. All right, here we go. We're gonna go Sri Lanka, female, SRI1, one. Okay. Database. I've gotten a women's league working before, by the way. So I'm not worried about getting it working. I know it's possible. I know it's not hard. I'm just missing something because I'm tired. I don't know what yet, but I'm just missing something. Okay, name contains SRI, add a condition, player gender, female, apply the filter. There's one team like this. 3 teams like this, huh? Huh. Okay. I want when you duplicate this base nation, um, sometimes it will duplicate the wrong record. So I really just want the one showing here. So let's duplicate this. Let's duplicate again. Now I've got 3 teams. Now I have 4 teams. I'll go back to my competitions. Add a condition. Name. SRI women. SRI women. Teams. Add. Add a condition. Player gender is female and nation is Sri Lanka. I just want to add these 4 teams. Cool. Rules. Convert to advanced rules. Go. Must be at least one team in the division. Right. Okay. We need to look at divisions. Okay, so these are basic rules. And in the basic rules under SRI women, we go to divisions, we go to add division, you go to single division, and you tell it that you want to add, oh, well, Sri Lanka first division. I didn't have to do everything that I was just doing. There's something off about my settings that mean that I can't add this, but let's add the number of rounds, substitution rules, no promotion, no relegation, and the match day is Saturday. Finish. Okay, now convert to advanced rules. Cool. Sri Lanka. Nation. Alright, I'm just going to take some screenshots and save this shit. So, I'm opening up Word. I'm showing you all the wrong screen. Good God. What a putz. Okay. Anyway, I set up the basic rules. I can show you that again. Here, let me go back. So if we revert to the basic rules, um, honestly, here, I'll just do it again so you can see, because I didn't need to do everything that I just did. I forgot that some of these teams exist in the game. They're just not loaded in. Okay, load unsaved changes. No. Okay. So I want to add Sri Lanka. So I'm going to go to add rules, female gender, Sri Lanka, other nations. Why did I pick the one all the way at the bottom? How do I not know my alphabet? There. Okay, create new competitions and rules. Very good. None of that matters. Then it's going to yell at me. If I try to convert to advanced rules, it's going to say, but you don't have any divisions. So you go to the rules set here, and you go to divisions, you add the division, and then you add a single division, and you find Sri Lanka. Sometimes if you've created your own, it won't show up here, and that's because it's missing something in the actual database to be able to add it. Let's say this is 4 rounds, because that's what I'm going to want. No relegation places. I'm going to want no substitution rules, so I'm going to put that in there. No subs allowed. Match day is Saturday. Finish. Now I can go to advanced rules. Now I'm just going to get some screenshots so that I can compare. Because I'm missing something here. I'm going to go half screen. Boop. Required teams. That's fine. I kind of know how this page works. Competitions. No way is it that easy. Am I missing something in competitions here? Okay. Reserve rules. I don't want match rules. How does that work? Match rules, rule 0. I kind of wonder if maybe there's something here that I messed up. Okay. Match rules. I should get the menu. Rule 0. Squad selection rules. That's fine. Get some screenshots. Get some screenshots. Shots, 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 shots. Start dates. Because this is going to work out of the box, basically. Transfers. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Now I got my screenshots. Load the database. Lose all save changes. Unsave changes. All good. Load unsave changes. No. Okay. Let's go to load editor data. Baseline both genders. And let's start comparing. It's loading. I swear. Oh, weird. All right, hold on. Whoop. There we go. Because I'm not split screening anymore. Okay, so back to my baseline. Here we go. Let's look at nation. I do want a split screen. Here, maybe I can add window capture, add existing, create a new window capture. The window that I want to capture is Windward. Nope. Windward. Cool. Windward capture. I'll put on the left. Game capture. I'll put on the right. So you can kind of see. Ugh, that's gross. Whatever. All right, this is what we need to do. So, let's take a look. And then I'm gonna split screen this, and then it's gonna screw up the look of everything, isn't it? Let me look at OBS again. Look how little it is. Look how little. There we go. Okay, that's a little better for you. All right, I got Word on the left. I've got Editor on the right. Let's look. Base year, good. Season update day, that looks fine. Division levels, Sri Lanka. I've got women's. Okay. I think that looks good. No child competitions. All good there. What was the next screen? This is required teams. I think this one's set up correctly. Minimum teams. I don't think this is the issue. I just want to look at something real quick. I don't think this is the issue. Okay, let's go to the next one. Competitions. I do have the competition set, just like they do. All good. Let's go to match rules. Rule 0, all good. Rule 0, okay. Highest division level 0. Trialists can play, no. Okay. Squad selection rules? I don't need squad selection rules. Season periods. Let's just try backing this up just in case. I don't think this is anything, but okay. Start a season. Yep. All that's fine. That's everything. What is going on? What am I missing? They don't have fixture times, they don't have national service. Training camp, discipline rules. Natural 0 squad selection rules is the only thing. Fine, I'll throw it on just in case. There's nothing. I'm gonna throw it into AI and see if it can spot anything I'm missing. because I don't think that's going to solve it. I have a thought. Situational tests. Interesting. Let me just. All are verified. What? Well, for crying out loud. I don't know much about this testing system. I don't know. Well, apparently everything is completely blank now. Did I just lose? I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't think that's expected behavior right there. So I'm just going to reload the database. And then I'll reload my editor data. I wonder if I'd created a problem with the start date maybe being after the first fixture date or something like that. I don't know, I'm just wondering. I really didn't expect this to be such a headache. As far as I can tell, I've changed nothing to potentially make this work, except shifting the start date a little bit. There's still no fixtures. All right, I'm going to take a little break and see if a fresh brain will let me approach this a little better. So, um, sometimes taking a break helps me to figure out what I'm missing. So I'm going to do that.